This is Elizabeth Peterson from South African Faith and Family Institute in Cape Town, South Africa. Just to celebrate with you, Marie Fortune. What a journey it's been. We really want to congratulate and appreciate you. It's been 40 years of service, and I'll never forget that first time when I called you, probably in 2004, to really nag you about making a way for me to come and visit and see the work that you are doing in the US. At that stage, Safi was just a vision and a dream, and really it was me praying and asking God. I said to God, there must be someone somewhere in the world who's been doing this work. And I prayed and asked for a way for me to come and spend some time with you. And I really want to acknowledge you and thank you for the way that you've received me, the way that you've just held my hand and given guidance and mentored me. And so today, Safi is 9 years old. Next year we'll celebrate our 10th celebration. But today it's about saying thank you for the huge contribution that you have made. We got you here in 2010 when we launched Safi, and your input just made a huge difference. And so today we want to give God praise and thanksgiving for all that you have done to help make the world a better place. The work of Safi is going strong, and you have a major contribution in that. God bless you and enjoy the rest of your journey. From all of us here in South Africa at Safi, God bless you.
Marie, yes, it is true that we met in September 1972 at Yale Divinity School. And together with Wynne Ledgerton, one of our first acts was to demand placement with women in our theology and social change class. And Marie, yes, it is true that when Wynne proposed to lead a chapel service on waiting, I thought, who would want to lead a chapel service? But offered to read from Simone Weil's Waiting on God. You, however, said, isn't this what women are always doing and being asked to do, to wait? And then I thought, I should have thought of that. And it is true that during the spring of 1974, we began to write to each other in the guise of Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and we became instantly much wiser. And it's also true that the Seattle Coalition Task Force on Women and Religion published this book in 1974, Elizabeth Cady Stanton's The Women's Bible, and you became a part of that group when you had your intern year in Seattle. It's also true that after you appeared before the local UCC as you moved toward ordination, that it was William Sloane Coffin who gave you the hardest time for your vision of ministry. A vision that 40 years later has been so important and transformative. It's also true that this is the very Pachelbel album that was used at your ordination service at YDS in 1976. Equally true, on my bus trip around the country in 1977, I saw the wall on your kitchen, and I believe it was going up the stairs, plastered with large pieces of paper, which contained your roadmap to getting your organization that would work with survivors of sexual violence started. And that, in a moment of pure joy for me, a Presbyterian, you had received your first grant that day from Presbyterian women. Or maybe that moment was predestined? Anybody who talked with you after your encounter with William Sloane Coffin knew you had gumption and vision and faith. Anyone who saw your wall with its roadmap knew you had organizational ability and fundraising skills and patience. You embodied taking a meeting before taking a meeting was a thing. Anybody who has edited a 500-page book with you, those were the days before email, knows you have deep intellectual insights and lively and important ideas. And anybody who's been able to call you friend since 1972 has learned from you and been edited by you and supported by you, well, that is one lucky woman. And this is all true. But what is spectacularly, undeniably true is that your vision of ministry has helped to transform how we talk about violence, how we help survivors, and how we hold abusers accountable. It turns out what we were waiting for were women like you. Thank you and congratulations.
Aloha from the Mid-Pacific, Dr. Fortune. I wish I could be there with you in Boston in person, but I have to stay here in Hawaii. Tough thing to do. Thank you, Marie, for all of the work that you've done in sexual and domestic violence awareness. Thank you for taking me under your wing 2 decades ago and making me the man that I am today, challenging me, challenging some of my beliefs, challenging my thoughts, and now I can say I'm a strong advocate to end violence against women and children and against men because of you. So God's blessings upon you on this 40th anniversary, and may God be with you and Sister Ann and your family always. Aloha.
Hi, I'm Kate Ott, Associate Professor of Christian Social Ethics at Drew Theological School. My most impactful experience of FaithTrust and of Marie Fortune in particular has to do with the entirety of my career. Knowing Marie and how she chose both ministry as well as nonprofit work, as well as writing for the Academy, showed me an example of someone who could do all of those 3 things and do so passionately. So it gave me hope as I started my early career in the Academy to get a PhD, but to go into nonprofit policy work, direct education in congregations, continue to work with my academic colleagues as well as other nonprofits, fold that back into a tenure track career, writing for both the Academy as well as for congregations, spending my weekends trying to help folks be educated about issues of sexuality education, sexual abuse prevention, professional sexual ethics. So for me, both FaithTrust and specifically Marie were an example of what someone can do with the variety of passions that they have and be able to do that in a way that goes together that some people don't always see as possible in the Academy. So I so appreciate that inspiration, the mentorship that I received along the way from Marie, and my continued engagement with FaithTrust as a resource for congregations across religious traditions with regard to sexuality education and sexual abuse and harassment prevention.
Hi, I'm Anne-Marie Hunter. I'm the Director of Safe Haven's Interfaith Partnership Against Domestic Violence and Elder Abuse here in Boston.
And I'm Shireen, Akram-Boshar, Project Coordinator at Safe Havens.
We train faith communities locally and nationally of all faiths and denominations about responding to domestic and sexual assault victims and survivors, and about preventing abuse, and also about speaking out to end abuse.
One of the ways FaithTrust has really impacted our work is through their amazing resources, and we just want to go through a couple of our favorites today.
Okay, so the first is Keeping the Faith, which is probably one of the earliest resources, and we use it all the time. There's even a youth group at one of the churches here in the Boston area that's doing car washes to raise money to buy volumes of Keeping the Faith.
The next one is Broken Vows, which we have almost memorized from showing it at so many trainings.
Always a favorite. Sexual Violence. This is a great book. It's groundbreaking, and it really helps people understand the issue.
To Save a Life, which we use training in Jewish communities.
And we also do a lot to connect faith leaders and people in faith communities to advocates, sexual and domestic violence advocates in their communities. This is a great book for that, Walking Together. It really helps the advocates understand the importance of faith in the lives of their clients, and also to see abuse from the perspective of various faith communities.
And just yesterday evening, we spoke to a group of graduate students in public health at Boston University who were interested in the intersection of Islam and domestic violence, and we used a section of Garments of One Another.
So there are so many ways that Faith Trust has impacted our work. We wanted to just highlight a few of them. Thank you so much, Marie, and for everyone at Faith Trust for your work. We couldn't do what we do without what you do.
Hi, Marie. Congratulations on 40 years of an incredible career, making a difference to so many people in the world. I've often referred to you as the guru of all things violence against women and religion. I just want to say thank you for making such a huge difference in my life personally. In 1988, in September, when Dad and I were assaulted by my estranged husband, I never dreamed that I would end up working in this field, of course, and here it is almost 30 years later. And so much of it is in thanks directly to you, because someone in my support group gave me your book, Keeping the Faith, and it made a huge difference in my life. And less than 6 months later, there you were on a plane to Hawaii to come over and do a training for us and our church leadership and others in the faith community. And the difference that you and then later making Broken Vows and that has made, it just cannot be underestimated. So many people have been educated, their lives have changed. Who knows? Maybe their lives saved because of pastors and faith leaders who were trained by you and by people like me that you trained. And so I just honor you and FaithTrust Institute and everything that you have done and written and taught all the rest of us. You are my shero. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Hi Marie, this is Elizabeth Ersick, and I want to thank you for the impact that you've had on my life. It began at Yale Divinity School when I had to take the class in Sexual Misconduct of Clergy at a time when that course was mandated and authored by you. Later, I came to a conference in Washington, Seattle, and was able to come by your offices and meet you in person, and it was a thrill as a young scholar. Even later, as I became co-chair of the American Academy of Religions and Women's Caucus, you were one of our featured speakers through the FLTN, and I very much appreciated our connection. And finally, you hosted my book on women, ritual, and power in your new book series. You've just been an amazing visionary, a compassionate person, committed to justice, and someone who loves the world and all of us in it. Thanks, Marie. Bye.
Hi, Marie. This is Kristen Leslie. Congratulations on this momentous occasion, 40th anniversary of hard work. So you've had an impact on lots that I have done, but I think of a really important time that was in 2003 when I was asked by the United States Air Force Academy to come to work with them on a consulting matter around issues of sexual assault. And I remember being both excited and actually quite thrown because I had done a lot of work around sexual assault, but my really only experience up until that point with the military was to protest them. And I knew that wasn't going to be a very helpful skill. So I called three people. One were my pastors, two, Letty Russell, and three, you. I didn't know you that well, but I knew that you had a contract with the military through the Department of Justice on working around domestic violence issues. You gave me some very wise wisdom, which was when you stand on the outside of the gates and you protest and you do work of justice, it's one whole skill set. But when you go inside empire, if you will, it's a very different skill set. And you have to relearn a whole bunch of things. And I found that to be such helpful wisdom because I think I'd been trying to translate my skills up until that point to work with the military, and they weren't going to work, and I knew it. So you walked me through some of that process, and I have been forever grateful. In 2014, then, when you and I got the contract with the Navy to train chaplains around issues of sexualized violence, that came into real play, and it was fun to work with you. We had lots of meaningful times, including getting to stand with you during a validation point and you getting to butt heads with a Marine rabbi. I learned a lot from you in that point. I've learned, and I continue to learn from you, Marie. I'm grateful for your love for people in this work, this hard work. The church is a better place because of your work. Thanks, Marie.
My name is Lucy Forster-Smith. I'm the university chaplain at Harvard. I have the opportunity in my work as a university chaplain to engage the range of issues with students. And one of the issues that I encounter very regularly is that of students experiencing sexual assault on campus. Through my background in dealing with these issues, one of the places that has been so supportive of my work is the FaithTrust Institute. Marie Fortune, we are so incredibly indebted to you for your work over these past 40 years, working with people who are dealing with these issues of sexual assault and domestic violence and clergy malfeasance and other things that really are so difficult to encounter and also to make sense of in terms of our faith. One of the reasons that I got involved with the Center for the Prevention of Sexual and Domestic Violence, the precursor institution to the FaithTrust Institute, was because I myself was a victim of sexual assault when I was a seminarian. And at that time, Marie Fortune stepped in to my life in a very significant way, and the healing process of moving from a victim to a survivor was largely due to the support that Marie gave me. So we celebrate you, and we are so grateful to you for your vision and your leadership in this important dimension of the contribution of your work through the FaithTrust Institute. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Stokes. I'm the Executive Director of the Resource Center for Women and Ministry in the South in Durham, North Carolina. And today I'd like to say a big thank you to Marie Fortune and the work that she has done over the last 40 years. The Resource Center just celebrated its 40th anniversary like FaithTrust. So for the whole time I've been doing this work, Marie has been a wonderful resource. I'm grateful for the books that she has written and created. I'm grateful for the films and the other resources that FaithTrust has offered, the trainings and all the great consultations. In the 1980s, the Resource Center created a project called Response, a religious response to violence against women and children. We modeled it on the work that Marie and FaithTrust had been doing. So congratulations, thank you, and I offer my praise and thanksgiving.
This is Darryl Stevens, ordained deacon in the United Methodist Church and Director of United Methodist Studies at Lancaster Theological Seminary. Marie, I give thanks to God for you and your ministry. As a steady and fervent voice for justice, you have brought healing to many and inspired all of us. I teach from the FaithTrust curriculum multiple times a year, and each time I gain new wisdom and insight. Thank you. Yet, after 40 years, the need for this work in our faith communities and larger society is greater than ever. I carry on the struggle to end gender-based violence with the hope that one day the work you so courageously pioneered will no longer be necessary. In the meantime, onward.
Hi, I'm Mary Hunt, the co-director of WATER, the Women's Alliance for Theology, Ethics, and Ritual in Silver Spring, Maryland. I'm a longtime friend and colleague of Marie Fortune, and I must say no one has made the world a safer, more welcoming place than Marie. I can't overstate the importance of her personal contribution and the work of the FaithTrust Institute to provide religious resources for eradicating violence. Marie Fortune has integrity you can take a picture of. I always say that. Her commitment to justice permeates her deeply pastoral and intellectually rigorous approach to sexual and domestic violence. But most of all, I admire her willingness to spend an entire career and then some, heaven knows she's a hard worker, on the singular goal of eradicating violence so that women and children can live safely in this world. And I must say there are some happy dogs who have been part of her ministry. I delight in being Marie's friend and colleague, and on this happy occasion of 4 decades of work, I think it's just the start for Faith Trust. I know good people will take this work on and continue it in the way that Marie Fortune has gotten it off the ground. And I'm happy today to commit the resources of WATER, the Women's Alliance for Theology, Ethics, and Ritual, so that together we can continue the struggle. Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Faith Trust colleagues. Adelante.